Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bakar Kavi from TFT Perspective, and today I'm going to talk about Pakistani diaspora and how some of the hostile elements have penetrated it to basically undermine Pakistan's interests. Now, when you look at Pakistani diaspora living abroad, so it's very interesting. If you look at the figures, we have uh, almost 10 million people who are already settled abroad, and then we had a wave of people, especially young people, going abroad in past 10 years, which, according to Ministries of Overseas Employment, is another, I would say, 8 million. So this all told makes it a very large figure. And Pakistani diaspora abroad is one of the largest in the world. I think Pakistanis are sixth largest community, which is also very good in that sense that there are people who go abroad, contribute to those societies and nations, and also become useful citizens for Pakistan. And they are deep rooted as far as their connections with Pakistan are concerned, and definitely they performed very well. Now, out of these majorities in the Middle East, which is more than 5 million, so it means mainly Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, and other Gulf states. The second largest community is in UK, which according to certain estimates is 1.5 million, uh, plus and minus. Some people say that's already 2 million. Then United States again touching 600,000, mainly concentrated around New York City, Chicago, New Jersey, along the eastern coast, and some also on the western coast. And then you'll find it spread across rest of the Europe, Australia, even Africa. If you go to South Africa, it's very interesting that Pakistanis or Pakistani origin people are now more than, I think, 200,000. So this is a very large community. Now, many industrial states actually regard diaspora to be an asset, and we should also look at diaspora being Pakistan's soft power, Pakistan's the best is abroad. And they have basically capacity in modern times to connect through internet to their kith and kin in Pakistan and within diaspora, project their influence abroad. And if you look at Pakistani diaspora in Europe and North America, now they are into political positions also, especially in UK. We found a couple of ministers, members of the parliament, of the House of Lords also. And then Pakistani origin people becoming very senior leaders like Scottish Nationalist Party. Pakistani diaspora has also produced some of the leading figures in business. You have Shahid Khan in the United States, sports, philanthropy, showbiz and film, and professional fields like higher education, research, medicine, IT, engineering, hospitality, and even in military. You remember one of the Khans who was awarded Purple Heart, and he was criticized by, I think, Donald Trump. It became a very big issue. Now, what when you look at some of the YouTubers within the diaspora, which may be constituting very less. Let's say if the permanent diaspora and Pakistani living abroad, let's say assume that they are like 15 million plus, and if there are 10 or 20 YouTubers or influencers who basically try to project as they are representing the diaspora, I think that is very unfair. And why today I am addressing the Pakistani diaspora as well as those YouTubers is that ultimately, your motherland is your mother. And you have kith and kins living here, you have relationships, and definitely you have deep roots in Pakistani society. So whatever you do, at least look at that your narrative is not resonated by, uh, enemy or hostile powers or hostile countries. In case they are doing it, in case suppose India feels good about it, something you talk about Pakistan, so it means that probably you are running their show and you are helping. And there have been Indian influencers on social media who have actually said that whatever these some of social media activists belonging to a particular party have done to Pakistan, probably their research and analysis being couldn't think of it in last 76 years. So this is the kind of comment which is coming from India, and that is on the record. Same is true for other hostile nations and power. Now, as far as constructive criticism is concerned, for betterment of Pakistan, it's always welcome. I'm sure there are suggestions that people who are highly educated, and they could actually suggest improvements in Pakistan governance, its financial system, and they do genuinely remain worried about it. Even I have appeared on some of the talk shows which are hosted by overseas Pakistani. They genuinely feel that whenever there is a challenge or there are issues of misgovernance in Pakistan, they generally feel about it. But when it's becomes, crossing the, line of propaganda, then I think that's very, very ominous. The other thing is that any good news about Pakistan is also projected negatively. You generally find, alternate views coming for that, which is again, I think, very, very unfortunate. So at least, celebrate. And I also suggest that do a comparative analysis. For instance, if you're living in North America or Europe or anywhere else, and you've permanently decided to settle down, you have their citizenship. I think, in terms of responsibility, when you have denounced Pakistan's citizenship, and there's no harm in that, you adopted, let's say, Canadian or American or British nationality. I think your main concern should be improving your own society and definitely giving some advice to Pakistan. But if 99% of the time, in the garb of free speech and democracy, you are just attacking Pakistan institutions or trying to undermine the morale of the nation, and you don't have the guts to even speak about critical issues like Islamophobia. I have never seen some of these leading YouTubers in North America and UK doing that. If they as that their adopted land, why don't they discuss Islamophobia? Why don't they discuss that some of these nations were built on the bones of indigenous people? It's a record. There are unmarked graves or unaccounted people and children. There are generations which were lost. And if you are sitting there and just talking bad about Pakistan, it means that basically it's part of an agenda. It's nothing to do with free speech or adding knowledge to the youth. So my advice would be do follow those campaigns in those countries, and then try to select a political party which actually supports indigenous people or the Muslims, and let's see you running some hashtags against let's say white supremacists or neo-Nazis rising in Europe. So I've never seen them doing that. The other thing I think which is important is that Pakistani community living abroad should also know what kind of theories are being adopted by hostile powers, and are our YouTubers and influencers becoming let's say part of that agenda. There is a very famous book by Saul Alinsky, which is basically rules for radicals, and I'll just read some of the important or critical rules which have been adopted by different groups to bring chaos or anarchy. It happened in Libya, it happened in Syria, and probably this is being applied in Pakistan also. One, power is not only what you have, but the enemy thinks you have. Two, never go outside the experience of your people. So it means whatever is your in group, try to do it within that knowledge of that group. And whenever possible, go outside of the experience of the enemy. And here, when I say enemy, probably is the state of Pakistan. They try to go outside to accentuate chaos. Make the enemy live up to his own book of rules. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. There is no defense. It's almost impossible to counterattack ridicule. Also, it infuriates the opposition, who then reacts to your advantage. Now, if you look at the propaganda campaigns and narrative being thrown from especially North America and Europe, and I also highlight that why certain other countries don't allow this nonsense. For instance, the largest diaspora of Pakistanis is in the Middle East. And we've even seen, some of the Bangladeshi protesters in Middle East were doing some campaign on social media for a genuine cause, were arrested, and I think they were given imprisonments. And later on, I think on the request of Bangladeshi government, they were released. But the laws are so tough. I have seen generally Turkey, Iran, Pakistani diaspora would never venture into such poisonous campaign, even in Africa. Go to China, go to even Southeast Asia, Russia. There is small Muslim Pakistani diaspora there. So it means that all those countries which are genuinely friendly to Pakistan would not allow this. So mainly, if it is coming from North America, India, or Europe, it means that definitely there's some kind of encouragement of that. A good tactic is the one you people enjoy. A tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. So I've seen some innovations, especially use of memes and social media in a creative way, but for negative purposes. Keep the pressure on. The threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself, and it can go on. And then is the pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. So this is a strategy that I have seen, especially the personal kinds of attack on leadership in Pakistan, and trying to build a particular narrative, and then censoring, self-censoring when it comes to their leadership. And basically, their as you say, their saath khoon maaf hai. So you never criticize their so-called selected leader. The other important thing is that apparently there is a cause of anti-West, or absolutely not, which was adopted by their party leader. Uh, so it means that anything which is done on the behest of Western countries, or the policy we support the West, is not good for Pakistan. So this is the larger theme, and you say absolutely not. But when you're sitting in the West, let's say you're sitting in Canada, in your cushy drawing room or apartment or office, or a conference, or in America or UK or Brussels or Paris, and you are criticizing, let's say, suppose absolutely not theory is correct, that why Pakistan leadership, political military leadership, basically went against Imran Khan for being anti-West. Isn't it, don't you smell a rat here? That basically you are sitting in the West and then trying to prove that you are the most anti-Western, I would say, activist. So I think this is a total hypocrisy that they are doing. Please, I would suggest leave your areas. What are the most important anti-Western, let's say, countries? Go to China, do it. Go to Russia, go to Cuba, go to Iran and do it. So I think there's an element of hypocrisy. Um, my, I think, final suggestion would be that be objective. We are not against. Don't try to represent, 15 million Pakistanis who are doing a wonderful job, not only becoming ambassadors of Pakistan abroad, but also helping Pakistan through sending foreign exchange, and again, definitely improving their, families here. And some of them are doing a wonderful, job in philanthropy. So do that, and do critical analysis and criticism, but don't try to let's say run such certain campaigns which are resonated by Indian media, where they feel very happy about it, and their content is actually quoted in Indian media. Uh, Definitely, Pakistani diaspora has deep roots in Pakistan. I'm sure they are as loyal or as caring for Pakistan as we people sitting in Pakistan are. So, with this small little message, there's a hope that we'll become more objective and don't become, let's say, tool of hostile powers. Thank you very much.